Sometimes just take criticism positively. It's a stepping stone. Whether they had their bad intentions, whether they, bora tu they pointed out that ulifanya hii and it was not right. Work on that. So allow yourself to take criticism positively. Allow yourself to also continue to educate yourself. I mean, because guys, najiambianga mara mingi sana, I'm a student of life, and by a student of life I mean I can learn from every person who is around me, and from every person I mean whether they have good intentions, whether they have bad intentions, whether they are a child, whether they're an adult, whether they are elderly, whatever they are, yeah, whoever they are, you can always learn something. And you can always learn something from the way children behave, from who they are, from how they act around each other, from how they treat other people that maybe are elder, how they treat, other people, basically. And by that I mean that for you to overcome your limitations, you have to see yourself beyond yourself. You have to see you beyond what you know about yourself, what you have been accustomed to, what you have been in the past. You have to see yourself beyond that. You have to sit and introspect and look at your goals. What do I want to achieve? How do I want to achieve this? What are the resources I will need to achieve this? Then maybe what kind of support systems will I need? Because I mean, you will also need support systems to achieve certain things. So keep pushing yourself, but again, don't push yourself too hard, because the moment you push yourself too hard, you might end up in a position of, say, an illness, a mental illness. You feel fatigued, you feel exhausted, blah blah blah. So it's important that as you push yourself, you also allow yourself to live, be happy, and live in the moment. Yes, that's all.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Accountability partners, take criticism. Don't judge yourself too harsh. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. As of what we need to make of ourselves, and of course, when we are better, the world becomes better. You're welcome, my sister.
Thank you. I think every time I'm in a space with Grace, I need to say that anything she says is what I wanted to say. So if she speaks, I've already, I've already spoken because alikuwa anaongea na malizia. Malizia aside from the mic was muted. Anywho, I cannot emphasize as much on, I cannot emphasize enough on being able to hold yourself accountable and having people around you that are accountability partners. That is very, very important. I think those are the things that help you stay grounded in the sense that you know who you are, you know what you are, you know what you're capable of, and you stop looking at limitations and limitations. One thing that I started by saying is that if you stop looking at things as limitations, that this is what I cannot do, you look at it as a challenge. So, for instance, there was something I was sharing with Grace some time back in terms of getting to learn more about yourself, in the sense that if you're not qualified for a job, what steps can you make to make yourself qualified? Let's say, is it a course that you need to take? The world has made it so easy for us to be able to have soft skills, skills that are very, very marketable, skills that you see Coursera, LinkedIn Learning. I always emphasize on these things. Skills that you can just get just by having a laptop or a phone and internet. And instead of using our devices for things that are not useful, why not use our devices to be able to help ourselves become more marketable for certain situations? Look at your limitation as a challenge. What is it that's stopping it? Is it because you don't believe in yourself? Look at how far you've come. We're all grown people. We have all overcome situations in our lives, whether personal situations, career situations, relationship situations. Even getting over a heartbreak is overcoming a challenge. So when you look at things that you have overcome and look at where you are at right now, you start now believing in yourself and thinking that, hey, I can do this. If I was able to get over a certain situation, if I was able to get over my parents getting a divorce, if I was able to interlink your life such that it has compartments and it has levels of analysis, that you look at your life and you say, listen, I have gone through this and this, and Grace talked about imposter syndrome, especially with your achievements, whether personal achievements, whether career achievements, whatever aspect of life it is that you have overcome. You need to start looking at every challenge that you see in life as that, not a limitation. I don't like the word limitation, because limitations is that you will stop there. You won't get over it. You won't look at it as a life challenge. And challenges are meant to be overcome. Challenges are meant to be moved over. Challenges are meant to, find solutions to. Because if you do not look at it as a challenge, you'll be stopped there. This is a limitation, it's a limit. You know how we always say the sky is the limit? What does it mean that I have to stop at the sky? Do I have to stop at this aspect of life because I have hit a wall? I'm supposed to break those walls. And the moment you start looking at life as such that every level comes with its own devil, I always repeat this and I love saying it because every level of life comes with its own devil. The own devil will be harder than the first one. And Grace talked about something that we all want to be at 100, but we don't want to go the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same aspect of life. When you get into life, when you're looking at a child who has gone through class 1 to class 8 or to university and so on and so forth, they had to overcome exams. And these are not limitations. They're just but challenges. You look at class 1, to go to class 2, it's an exam. To go to class 3, there's a harder exam. It's not the same exam that you had to overcome in class 1 that you have to overcome in class 7 to go to class 8. The KCSE exam is not the same as the class 1 exam. If life was that easy, then none of us would be in a situation where we even know or learn and so on and so forth. Constantly have a mindset to prepare yourself towards the fact that I overcome this stage in life. Best believe I've gotten to a higher level of grace. I've gotten to a higher level of understanding. I've learned something. The next thing, okay, this is a new challenge. It will be harder. Let me tell you, life does not get easier. We get stronger. And that's the mentality that you need to look at, because challenges come as you progress in life. Challenges come. The more money you have, the more problems you the more money you have, the more problems will come. You'll be surprised the people who have money, the challenges that they go through, very, very difficult challenges. Some of them don't even sleep. But it's that is how life is. And to overcome, to be able to live at your maximize on your full potential, it's understanding that if I stop now, then I will have stopped without exercising the full level of me that I need to exercise. Let me tell you something about myself, that I had to shift my mentality completely to even see the things that I see today. I've been, and this is just in all humility, but it's an example. I have been placed in different settings, and I do not take pride in it, in the sense that it's me. For me, for those who know me, it's all God. But let me explain this. Some of the places that I've been in, I have been in certain tables where there was a conference that we were at, and I hadn't even gotten my bachelor at that point. I was still doing responding to life and doing the things that I do. I was in a panel. I was to speak in a panel with people who have had PhDs, people who have, worked for the ICC, people who are doing great things. And there I am, a little girl who knows nothing, who's just coming with huge passion, and it's just me. It's just little old Victoria. Now, let me tell you something. For a quick moment, I was in the hotel room and I was thinking, I shouldn't even go, because I do not even know what I'm going to say. What if I say anything, would it even be valid for these people? You see the things that come now, you start limiting yourself in the sense that you don't even have a bachelor's degree. You haven't even attained that yet. I was in the process of attaining my bachelor. You don't even have, you're such a young girl. These people are 40, 30, at that point I was 19. I was 19 years old, and I'm thinking, I'm just 19. What am I going to tell these people? What am I going to discuss? You're supposed to discuss matters of national importance, and you're just there, a small 19-year-old girl. And all of a sudden, Grace talked about imposter syndrome. All of a sudden, my head just started spinning. It just started spinning in the sense that I am not good enough. Now, had I let those things get into me, I would have not walked away from that hotel room. And, it got to a point where I just sat down and I just closed my eyes and I said, I am worth it. I am here because I am qualified to be here. I am here because of the work that I've done. I am here because you start looking at the why you're here rather than the why nots you're here. And that's what a lot of us do in life. We look at the why nots, we look at all these things, and those are the things that keep us limited. Those are the things that make us feel that we shouldn't move further than we do. Also, Morady talked about the aspect of us, going overboard with the things that we have and having no control over how we behave in terms of, money matters and so on and so forth. There are certain limitations and challenges that we bring on ourselves. For instance, the challenges of money and how we spend it and how we look at money and how we handle money. There's this thing that I was told by a friend of mine who's they got monies. They said the rich don't stay rich by spending money, overspending. They stay rich by saving money. This is how. This friend of mine has a very big home, but she has furnished her home through, going to Kamukunji, going to, these places where they make ninis, instead of buying them at these expensive places. Not because she cannot afford it, but because she said, I get better deals. If I go to Dr. Mattress, I will get a mattress for what? 30K. If I go to Kamukunji, I'm getting the same mattress at 5K. Why would I go and do all these things? Some of the limitations that we have when we see our resources and we look at, I can't be able to facilitate for certain things, but you're earning a certain amount of money. You should be able to facilitate for certain things, but it's because your behavior when it comes to money is not where it's supposed to be. Certain limitations are self-made. Certain challenges are self-made. Therefore, look at your life and focus on things that you can control and make sure that you have a healthy relationship towards everything around you. Can you still hear me?
Yes, you can.
Okay,
Go
great.
ahead.
I love compartmentalizing my life such that I have my relationship life, I have my academic, I have my financial life, I have my spiritual life, all these are compartments. And every compartment builds me to who I am. Therefore, what relationship do I have towards my money? That's my finances, my income, my so on and so forth. I am so crazy. I have a whole plan over all these things. Now, what sort of relationship do I have to my family, to so and so on? What can I be able to cultivate there that can be able to help me? Let's say we all have family drama. What can I be able to do that can help me facilitate for a better, healthier relationship there? My spirituality, what is limiting me? What are the challenges that are limiting me towards getting to the full maximum potential of my spirituality, getting to the deeper? I'm a Christian and I'm very, very devoted, a disciple of God. Therefore, what is limiting me from attaining a certain level of a godly relationship? Is it the things that I do? Is it, and so on and so forth? When you come to your relationships, what exactly is the challenge in terms of finding a person who I can be with and so on and so forth? Is it how I speak? Is it how looking from inside out and seeing what you're projecting also to these aspects of your life can help overcome challenges that come in every aspect of your life? So compartmentalize, analyze, then deal with the things that you can control, but do not over criticize yourself. I'm not telling you to criticize yourself. I'm telling you to look in an analytical manner and look at the aspects that you can change. With that said, my name is Victoria Nkatha and I'm done speaking. Thank you.
Awesome. You said something and it reminded me when I met Grace. She was an undergraduate. I think she was in her second year. It was a global mental health conference in Nairobi. In her second year, Grace is in those group discussions in a conference where you go and then you present to the larger plenary, that. And so for us in our group, guess who is presenting? It is the chair for the psychiatry department of psychiatry at the Harvard Uni. The other group, the UN resident psychiatrist, the person in charge at the World Health Organization, the person in charge of mental health is the one presenting. And guess the Grace's group is presenting. It is this second year student who is presenting, and I was so amazed with her confidence. I was so amazed with her level of comfort with arguing with professors, arguing with people that have practiced medicine and psychiatry and mental health way before she was born, I think there's nothing that can describe you, Victoria, your friendship with Grace, and the fact that you shared also platform when you talked even to people who were authorities by themselves in that field, even when you could have you acquired those academic privileges, and this is a pure bliss. This is pure exemplification of how one can overcome their limitations and maximize their potential. You've also said very something very profound of compartmentalizing your areas, spiritual, financial, family, relationships, and all that. Uh, and my take and what I've reasoned is and what I've the insight I've gotten with that is if my social life is broken, I will be broken the way I spend my finances. I will be broken the way I relate with my family. I will be broken the way I also relate with my partner, my romantic partner, and all that. And so one sphere of life or one compartment of life getting broken can affect say others because they are interdependent, interlinked, and interrelated, and all that. So I have this insight, and as you're speaking, that it is our effort to ensure that we also fix those side compartments. And then as we come to the wholesome world that is made of social, financial, family, psychosocial, and all that, you become a healthy person where there is no leakage of this confidence and leakage of this potential that one has. Because I can see my two sisters have raised their hand in the order of Grace and Victoria.
Abdul, you've reminded me something. The year was 2019. In 2019, I was still in undergraduate. Guys, I'm young. So, this event, it was called the Blueprint Mental Health Event. It was funded by UNICEF, WHO, CBM Global. Like, it had so many global organizations. I was a second year student who had the only major event I had done before that one was an Amnesty event, Amnesty International. I had done an interview with Charles Owino, who was by then the IPOA representative. And if you have interviewed Charles Owino, Charles Owino does not reply to the questions you ask. He replies to the questions he wants to answer. So it was really tough for me to, it made me very anxious. Now, this day, I have been appointed by my group, a group full of psychiatrists, a group full of people who are working in very high levels to represent them. And was I anxious? Very. I was very anxious. I was like, how do I, a young girl, sitting in the midst of 40 plus people, okay, 40 years plus people, who are all very, they hold masters, they hold PhDs, they hold, they're well built. And I mean, by that time, we were presenting on how do we create or maybe create a capacity building event in Africa, because the theme was the Southeast Asia and Africa. So at that point, I was very anxious. I don't know. I have not been to Asia in second year. I don't know what Asia looks like, but at least I was in Kenya. So I knew what Kenya looks like. And giving my ideas then and challenging people who sit on very high tables for me was it was I had my limitations. I had my questions of how do I do this? Why am I even doing this? And at that point, I was thinking, will they even give me jobs when I challenge them? But then I was like, you know what? kama mbaya mbaya. I live with that attitude. Nakuanga tu kama mbaya mbaya, ikifanyika ni sawa, isipofanyika ni sawa. So I went and challenged them. The people from the Lancet Commission on Mental Health, the WHO, I was challenging all of them. Why are we keeping on having this same conversation on mental health, yet we are not pushing for policies, yet we are not changing the things in government, we are not financing mental health. Look at psychiatric wards. It's the same everywhere. People are just being held, against their will. There is the institutionalization. People are being held in social care facilities, which is really not what they want, and that is not an approach to be giving in mental health. And well, one thing I learned at that point was that you need to learn how to express yourself. I mean, that had also been a challenge for me from the past, communication, because I mean, I was the kind of person who, you hurt me and I keep quiet, you will hurt me again and I will still keep quiet. But that time, in 2019, I got to learn and to express myself and say that this is hurting me, this is not okay, this is not how we do things here, and get your opinions respected. Because I mean, we have our limitations, and why we tell ourselves, ami sitaongea, maybe this relationship will die. But you know what you're doing? You're killing yourself by sticking in that relationship where you're not airing, your challenges. In that workplace where you're not airing what you're going through. That HR mwenye unasemanga ni mbaya, siwezi mwambia what I'm going through. Maybe I'm being bullied by the manager. Maybe I'm being sexually, harassed by someone. But you are limiting yourself from expressing exactly what you're going through at the cost of your own mental peace, to give someone, or rather to accommodate someone and make them feel like, to serve the peace. And sometimes serving the peace is not the goal. You do not want to be serving the peace at the cost of your own mental health. Do not do that. Again, if you are a young person, me, I'm a young person, and I will forever be young, amen. So I'm a young person who, there's this inaitwa nini, the KICC conference on mental health and the task force. The task force on mental health went around the country, collecting views and opinions from young people. Like, there were so many platforms open for people to go and give their expressions, say this is what we want done in our hospitals, this is the kind of health facilities we want, these are. But people were called and they did not show up. And I mean, I saw people complaining later that, the government does not give us chances, the government does not, it's always the government does not. Yet mkiitwa hamwendi. Sasa mtasaidika aje shughuli? Seriously. You're called, there are posters, there is notifications, it's announced on TV, it's announced on radio, it's posted here on Twitter. I mean, there are people like me who never watch TV, so if anything is posted on TV, I'll most probably not see it, but on Twitter I will see it. So I mean, the awareness creation was really massive. So when we say that you want to do something, you want to overcome your limitations, but you're also not seeking the information. Sometimes you see that tweet, but because it's a long one, you're like, sitasoma hii ni mrefu sana. You skip and go to the next one that is short and funny. Yet you're also seeking to grow. I mean, there's some things that will not coexist. You will either have to choose to take that information that you need, that information that be it long, that information that is pushing you, or you will choose to be on the side of information where it's all jokes, it's all fun, there's no growth. It's your choice, Bana. It's you to choose.
Awesome, Grace. And as you're speaking, I'm laughing behind the miracle, behind the mic, because I'm I'm just seeing you the way you're so confident. If you said you were anxious, I will never believe, because I saw you so confident, so full of knowledge. You sounded knowledgeable, and of course you can also and I buy fully the idea of empowering yourself and having content and having being able to know what's happening around, so that then you're able to invite that confidence to overcome your limitations, and then the next natural thing will be to maximize your potential. Yes, Victoria, go ahead.
I think when you put Grace and I on a panel, we can talk. We can
I
talk. Let me
realize
just
that.
tell
I
you,
realize
when we're
that. That is
passionate about
beautiful and
something,
awesome. It's beautiful and awesome. Let's go on. We're having a very and you don't know how many people are enjoying and answering and being helped to overcome their inner fears and limitations. So let's go on. Let's go on. No
So
problem. No problem, Victoria.
yeah, so the thing is that, let me just say this. There's something that I also had shared a few, and forgive me, I'm on the road. So there's something that I had shared a few days ago regarding your the way we look at ourselves sometimes is that we put ourselves down so that we can be able to accommodate others who we probably think are more experienced, others who we probably think are more deserving, others who we probably think are better than us. However, that is not how things are supposed to be. Confidence and humility go hand in hand. Let me just say this: humility is not putting yourself down. Humility is not putting you and your qualifications down. Humility is not putting your skills down. Humility is not putting who you are down. Humility is accepting the fact that despite my abilities, despite my qualifications, and so on and so forth, I am also able to respect others in their own regard, and I will not step over other people. Putting yourself down is making yourself smaller so that other people can feel bigger. And that is not what life is about. I always say I did not come to this life to make myself any smaller than anyone. I did not come to this life to make myself feel inadequate. I did not come to this life to make myself feel any worse than anyone else or to glorify any person in their own regard. I am supposed to walk in confidence with who I am, the things that I've achieved, and what I am yet to achieve. I have great goals, yes, and trust me, I will speak on my goals. I will come into a room and definitely make sure that I am heard, that I am not only heard, but also seen, not in the aspect of pride, but in the aspect of this is what I'm passionate about. This is what's relevant for this setup, and this is how I'm gonna go about it. Constantly lifting my head high and being open towards opening my mouth and opening my ears towards not only learning, but also sharing and creating as well, because that's the only way you can move in this life. And I told someone, if you're going to be able to achieve the things that you need to achieve in this world, you need audacious audacity. If you need to break barriers, you need audacious audacity. If you want to maximize on your potential, you definitely need audacious audacity. Being able to knock on doors that you do not feel that you're qualified for, being able to speak in rooms that you think you're lesser than. Don't ever think that you're lesser than. You're not lesser than. The fact that you are there already quantifies the fact that you need to be there. Therefore, open your mouth and be heard, because we all have something to give. The fact that you're alive means that you have something to give. The fact that you're well within your brain and within your capacity means that you have something to give. Therefore, do not be shut down by anything or anyone. Don't let your age limit you. Don't let the color of your skin limit you. Any limitations that you may think may have, my friends, audacious audacity. Maybe I move with audacious audacity. I go to offices that crazy. I go to places and I speak out my mind, and I also listen. It's also very key to also open your ears. Go and learn. Those offices that you might be afraid of walking into, those conference halls that you might be afraid to walk into them, sit. That is how you gain wisdom. That is how you gain knowledge. It is very important. If you feel that, oh, I can't go to a conference because, I am a nobody, get that ticket. I think there's a time there was something at Sarit. I don't know anything about buildings and so on and so forth. It was very, very construction-like. And I said, you know what? I'm going. I got my ticket, went to those 3 days, because I learned so much, so much. Now ask me about construction, ask me about CG building and how you what's it called? Isolate a room, nini. I know all about that, not because of anything else, but because I place myself in a position in which I am able to learn. Because it's not always every time that you also have to speak, but speaking and asking. I went and I asked questions. I asked, so in a house, you do this and this and this, and also the aspect of feeling that you're stupid. Again, kuuliza sio ujinga. Wahenga walisema kuuliza sio ujinga. Learn how to ask questions.
Learn how to open your mouth. A closed mouth never gets fed. If you sit down and wait for others to ask for you, the questions that you may have may never be answered. Be audacious, audacious audacity, audacious audacity, audacious in how you move, audacious in who you are, and don't ever feel like you're lesser than. Humility and putting yourself down are not the same thing. You can be confident and humble at the same time. So I needed to say that as well. I'm done speaking. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Victoria, and awesome points coming from you. Audacious audacity.